Leo adjusted the straps on his helmet as he stepped onto the dusty surface of planet Zorith 5. The air was thin but breathable, tinged with a strange metallic scent. He looked around at the towering stone ruins scattered across the horizon. Ancient carvings, unlike anything he had seen before, glimmered faintly under the planet's twin suns. "Leo, over here." Myra's voice came through his communicator. She was kneeling near a carved stone, examining patterns in the rock. Her hands traced the symbols with care, as if trying to remember an old memory. Leo hurried over. "Do you think these symbols mean anything?" he asked, squinting at the carvings. Myra shook her head. "I don't know. They might be some kind of language. Or maybe they are a record of something important." Her green eyes glowed with curiosity and determination. They had been sent to Zorith 5 to explore ruins that no human had ever visited. The mission was dangerous, but both knew it could reveal secrets of an ancient civilization. Neither expected what happened next. A sharp hum filled the air, vibrating through their suits. Leo glanced at Myra. "Do you hear that?" Before Myra could answer, a beam of light shot from the sky. It was wide and bright, enclosing them in an instant. The ground beneath them trembled, and a strange pressure pushed against their suits. "Leo!" Myra shouted, trying to move, but her boots stuck to the ground. Leo felt the same. "We're trapped," he yelled. The light lifted them off the surface, carrying them toward a massive object hovering silently above the ruins. It was unlike anything they had ever seen, smooth, dark, and glowing faintly at the edges. The air smelled electric, and a low vibration hummed through their bones. Within moments, they were inside. The light released them onto a smooth floor, and metal walls surrounded them. They tried to move, but suddenly, heavy chains shot out from the walls and fastened around their wrists and ankles. The metal was cold, and it seemed to hum with energy. Myra struggled. "Leo! What is this?" Leo examined the chains. "They're not normal. I think they're connected to us somehow, like they can sense our strength." He tested one, pushing with all his might. It didn't budge, but the energy pulsing through it made him feel a strange awareness of his own body. A shadow moved across the room. It was tall, thin, and covered in a shiny exoskeleton. The creature's head tilted as it observed them. It had no visible eyes, yet Leo felt as though it could see everything. A voice filled the room, though it did not come from the creature's mouth. It echoed inside their minds. "You are prisoners. Your cooperation will determine your fate." Myra swallowed hard. "Did it just speak in our heads?" Leo nodded. "I think so. We need to stay calm. If it's reading us, panic will only make things worse." The chains pulsed again, and a faint projection appeared in the center of the room. It was a holographic map of the prison, showing cells and corridors. Other beings were held in similar chains. Leo and Myra saw creatures of different shapes, all restrained and watched by the same glowing energy. Myra's eyes widened. "There are others here. We are not the only ones." A second voice joined the first, more urgent: "Show unity. Fail, and isolation is your reward." Leo frowned. "Unity? What does that mean?" Myra looked at him with a mixture of fear and resolve. "I don't know. But I think it means we have to work together. Whatever the aliens want, we have to show them we can cooperate. That might be the only way to survive." Leo took a deep breath. "Okay. Let's figure this out." The first night in the alien prison was silent except for the low hum of energy flowing through the chains. Leo and Myra studied their restraints, trying to understand them. Each movement sent vibrations through the metal. They realized the chains could detect tension, pressure, and even subtle shifts in balance. Myra tested a small movement with her wrist. The chain pulsed softly. "It can sense us. It's like it knows when we are working together or against each other." Leo nodded. Then we have to be smart. We can't fight blindly. We have to think. They spent hours experimenting with small movements. If one moved while the other remained still, the chains pulsed more strongly. But if they moved in harmony, the pulse softened. Slowly, they realized the chains were a test, measuring coordination and trust. Myra leaned close. Leo, I think the alien meant mating as a way to force cooperation. They want to see if two beings can act as one. That's how we pass the test. Not literally, but by showing unity. Leo looked at her, impressed by her insight. So we need to move together, think together, act together. That's our only escape. They began practicing. Each step had to be synchronized. Each shift of weight, each stretch of a limb, had to be in perfect harmony. At first, it was difficult. They stumbled, the chains tightened, and the room hummed with warning. But gradually, they improved. They could move slightly without triggering the chain's alarms. They discovered that even a shared thought or silent communication could influence the restraints. By the end of the first cycle of Zorith 5's day, they had learned a small but crucial skill. Their survival depended entirely on unity. As the twin suns set outside the energy barrier of their prison, Myra whispered, "We have a chance, Leo. If we keep this up, we can outsmart them." Leo nodded. "And maybe we can help the others too. If we survive, no one else has to be alone in this place." The alien shadows observed silently, their judgment hidden. But for the first time since their capture, Leo and Myra felt a spark of hope. They were chained beside each other, yes, but their minds and actions were beginning to move as one. That unity might be the key to escaping the alien prison. And somewhere deep in their thoughts, they knew this was only the beginning of a long and dangerous challenge. They would need courage, intelligence, and absolute trust to survive the tests the aliens had prepared. The next morning, Leo awoke to a faint vibration running through the chains. The soft hum of the alien prison was now a rhythm he could almost anticipate. Myra was already awake, her eyes focused on the glowing patterns etched into the floor beneath their chains. "Good morning," Leo said, trying to keep his voice steady. "How are you holding up?" Myra gave a small smile. "Better. I think I understand more about these chains. They are not just restraints, they are sensors. They detect more than movement. They know fear, tension, and maybe even thoughts." Leo raised an eyebrow. "Thoughts? You mean they can read our minds?" Myra nodded slowly. "Maybe not our words, but our intentions. Every small action we take is being measured. If we panic or act against each other, it strengthens the chains. If we cooperate, the pressure eases." Leo took a deep breath. "Then we have to be very careful. Every movement, every gesture counts. We can't act alone. We have to think as one." They began experimenting again. Small movements at first, lifting an arm, tilting the head, shifting weight, always in harmony. The chains responded instantly. When they moved together, the hum softened. When they acted out of sync, it pulsed sharply. "Look at this," Myra said, pointing to faint lines of light that ran along the floor beneath the chains. "I think these are signals. The chains are sending data to something, maybe the alien monitors. They are studying us, seeing how we respond." Leo knelt closer to the floor, observing the lines. "If we can understand these signals, maybe we can predict what will happen next. Maybe we can control it instead of just reacting." As they practiced, a soft projection appeared in the center of the room. A holographic image of the prison formed, showing all the cells and corridors. Leo noticed that some cells were empty, some contained alien creatures, and some contained other human-like beings in chains. "Other prisoners," Myra whispered. "They are all part of the same experiment. But look, some of them are struggling, and the chains are reacting violently. Fear makes the chains stronger." Leo nodded. Then we can't just survive. We have to remain calm. And maybe we can help others too. If we learn the rules, we might be able to teach them. The shadow-like alien observed silently, but a mental voice echoed again, unity is the key. Alone, you fail. Together, you may proceed. Myra frowned. They keep saying unity. I think they are testing whether two beings can act as one. If we fail, they will separate us. If we pass, maybe we get more freedom. Leo clenched his fists. Then we succeed. We need to act like one mind, one body. We can do this. For hours, they continued their synchronized movements. Each shift of an arm, each step forward, each tilt of their heads had to be perfectly timed. They learned to communicate without words, eye contact, subtle gestures, and even shared mental focus. As the day progressed, they noticed something remarkable. The chains allowed slightly more freedom as their cooperation improved. They could reach slightly farther, shift their bodies more smoothly, and even test new movements without triggering alarms. Myra whispered, Leo, the chains are teaching us. They are pushing us to synchronize completely. If we succeed, we might gain control over our own restraints. Leo smiled. Then let's keep learning. Let's make the chains work for us, not against us. Suddenly, a loud vibration pulsed through the floor. The holographic map flashed red in one corner. Leo and Myra turned their heads toward it. A new projection appeared, showing a small device in the center of the prison. It looks like a control panel, Myra said. Maybe that's the final test. We need to reach it together. Leo nodded. But it's probably guarded or trapped. The aliens want to see if we can act as one under stress. That's the real challenge. They spent the next few hours analyzing the holographic map, plotting movements, and testing small gestures that would allow them to maneuver without triggering the chains. Each attempt brought new insights. They discovered that the chains responded not only to physical synchronization but also to emotional alignment. Calm, confidence, and trust softened the restraints. Panic, doubt, or hesitation made them tighten. Myra looked at Leo seriously. It's not just our bodies. We need to trust each other completely. If one of us doubts, we fail. Leo met her gaze. Then we trust. No matter what happens, we act together. That's how we survive. By evening, they had mastered several coordinated movements. They could lean, stretch, and even step slightly in unison without triggering the chains. The alien's mental voice echoed less frequently, almost as if observing them silently now. Then, something unexpected happened. A faint glow appeared beneath the floor in a pattern that matched their movements. The chains pulsed gently, almost approvingly. It's responding to us, Leo said, amazed. It's not just monitoring. It's adapting. The more we work together, the more freedom it gives. Myra smiled. We are learning their language. Not words, but actions. The prison itself is teaching us how to survive. They sat together, backs against the cold metal wall, exhausted but hopeful. The chains were still there, but their power over them had weakened slightly. They were not just prisoners, they were students of the alien system, learning its rules and planning their next moves. Myra whispered, Leo, I think we can escape. If we keep this up, we can reach the control device, and maybe even free the others. Leo nodded. And we will. We just have to keep moving as one. Trust each other completely. As the twin sons of Zorath 5 said, casting long shadows across the alien prison, Leo and Myra closed their eyes briefly, not in surrender, but in preparation. Tomorrow, they would take another step in mastering the prison. Together, they felt a spark of hope that survival was not just possible, it was inevitable if they remained united. The alien observers remained silent, but somewhere deep in their technology, the chains continued to pulse in response to the growing human unity. The first lesson had been learned: humans could adapt, learn, and work together in ways no alien had fully anticipated. And for the first time, Leo and Myra knew that the key to their survival lay not in strength alone, but in cooperation, intelligence, and the unbreakable bond forming between them. The next day, the alien voice returned, stronger and more focused. Leo and Myra had grown used to the pulses of their chains, but now the rhythm felt sharper, almost like it carried intention. Observation complete. Cooperation must advance. Ultimate unity required, the voice echoed inside their minds. Myra looked at Leo. Ultimate unity. That must mean the next stage of their test. They want more than simple coordination now. Leo nodded. We've managed small movements. Now they want something bigger, something that proves we can work as one. Suddenly, a panel in the center of their cell lit up. A projection appeared, showing a symbol neither of them recognized. Lines connected the symbol to other points in the holographic map of the prison. It's a puzzle, Myra said, squinting at the display. The aliens want us to solve it together. I think it's a kind of logic test, but we must synchronize perfectly to succeed. Leo studied the projection. The symbols shifted as he and Myra moved in their chains. Each time they acted together, the lines glowed brighter. Each time they faltered, the glow dimmed. They're measuring more than movement, Leo said. They're measuring our coordination of thought. We have to think the same way at the same time. Myra nodded. Then we need to plan. We can't just react. We have to anticipate each other's choices. We have to become a single decision maker. They began practicing the new challenge. For hours, they moved their hands and bodies in patterns dictated by the holographic puzzle, sometimes shifting symbols in perfect unison, sometimes failing and triggering pulses from the chains. At first, it was frustrating. Their instincts were different. Leo wanted to act quickly, Myra wanted to analyze. But gradually, they learned to combine their strengths. Leo's decisiveness and Myra's careful planning complemented each other. Together, they achieved small successes. Myra smiled faintly. See? We're improving. The chains are loosening slightly. The more we understand each other, the more freedom we gain. Leo nodded. It's not just survival. It's learning their system and bending it to our will without them realizing. We can outsmart them by showing what they want while thinking ahead. The alien's voice returned, softer this time, almost like a whisper. Proceed to the next stage. Bonding will determine access to freedom. Demonstrate complete unity. Myra frowned. Bonding. That word again. I think they mean we have to work together at a deeper level, not just actions but decisions, timing, even emotion. That's how we pass the test. Leo looked at her seriously. Then we prepare. No mistakes. Every thought, every gesture, every move must be synchronized. The projection expanded to show other prisoners. Some were struggling, trapped in cells that pulsed violently with energy. The aliens seemed to test all of them in the same way. Leo and Myra realized that the ones who failed were isolated, while those who showed some cooperation gained more freedom. We have to stay ahead, Leo said quietly. If we succeed, we might be able to reach the control point and help the others. But if we fail, we could be separated and lose everything. Myra nodded. Then we move as one. We think as one. Every choice must be coordinated. The next hours were exhausting. They moved their arms, shifted their legs, and adjusted their bodies in perfect rhythm. They communicated without words, sharing intentions through glances, gestures, and subtle tension in their muscles. As they worked, the chains responded differently. The pulsing grew softer and warmer. They discovered that calm confidence made the chains almost like a partner, not a restraint. Doubt and hesitation still triggered sharp pulses, but together, they could anticipate each other's actions before even moving. "Leo, look," Myra said. "The control panel symbol is reacting. It's brighter now. We're getting closer. I think the aliens can see our progress. They're observing how perfectly we coordinate." Leo nodded. "We're learning their language of unity. Not words, but actions, thoughts, and timing. That's the real test. If we can master it, the aliens have no choice but to advance us." Suddenly, a section of the holographic map opened, revealing a corridor leading away from their cells. The projection highlighted a path to a device at the center of the prison. "That must be the goal," Leo said. "We need to reach it together. It's probably locked or protected, but the aliens are showing us the way. They want to see if we can plan and act in perfect harmony." Myra studied the map. "It's more than just moving through the prison. The path has obstacles, traps, and tests along the way. We need to think ahead and anticipate challenges before they appear." They began practicing simulations in their chains, imagining the corridor and the device at the center. They moved together in perfect timing, mentally mapping each step, each turn, each obstacle. Hours passed, and their synchronization grew near perfect. Every gesture was anticipated by the other. Every thought seemed to echo between them. The chains pulsed softly now, almost approvingly. "We're ready," Myra said quietly. "We've learned their system. We know how to act as one. The next test is real, and we can succeed." Leo smiled. "Then let's show them what humans can do. Not just survive, but adapt, learn, and excel. Together, we can reach that control device, free ourselves, and maybe even help the others." The alien voice returned, almost approving this time. "Advance to the next stage. Cooperation will be your path to freedom. Fail not, for isolation awaits those who doubt." Myra nodded firmly. "We won't fail. We move as one, think as one, act as one. That is our strength." Leo agreed. "Humans survive because we adapt. We learn. We work together. That's what makes us strong. They may test us, but we will overcome. Not by following blindly, but by understanding and mastering their system." As the twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting a soft glow through the alien prison, Leo and Myra prepared for the next stage. The chains still bound them, but they were no longer prisoners in the usual sense. They were students of the alien system, learning its rules, and ready to take the first real step toward freedom. Together, they would face the ultimate test of unity. Together, they would prove that human cooperation, intelligence, and resilience could overcome even the most alien of challenges. And in the quiet of the prison, the chains pulsed softly, acknowledging that the humans chained beside each other were no longer simply two individuals. They were becoming one force, united in purpose and determination. The next morning, the alien prison was unusually quiet. The low hum of energy from the chains still pulsed around Leo and Myra, but it was steadier now, almost as if the prison itself was waiting for something. Myra leaned back against the wall, stretching carefully while keeping her chains aligned with Leo's. "I think the aliens are testing more than our movements now. They want to see if we can remain calm under pressure, not just synchronized physically, but mentally." Leo nodded. "We've mastered the small movements. Now we need to prepare for more complex challenges. The path to the control device will not be easy. They will test our timing, our coordination, and our ability to think together." A soft vibration pulsed through the chains, and the alien voice returned in their minds. "The next stage approaches. Unity under stress will determine advancement. Prepare." Myra glanced at Leo. "Under stress. That means fear and distractions will come. We need to stay focused and trust each other completely." Leo clenched his fists. "Then we prepare for anything. If we can anticipate each other's thoughts and actions, nothing can stop us. For the next hours, they practiced more advanced synchronization. They experimented with simultaneous movement of arms, legs, and torso, learning to anticipate the other's next action. Each time they succeeded, the chains pulsed gently, loosening their hold. Each time they faltered, the chains pulsed sharply, warning them that unity was required. Myra studied the faint glow beneath their chains. It's like the chains are alive. They are responding to how perfectly we work together. They are teaching us to become one, not just two prisoners. Leo nodded. Then we learn. We adapt. That's what humans do best. We survive by understanding our environment and using it to our advantage. Suddenly, the projection of the prison appeared again. This time, it showed obstacles along the corridor leading to the control device. There were energy barriers, shifting floors, and strange alien mechanisms designed to challenge coordination. They want to see if we can act in perfect harmony while facing danger, Leo said. These obstacles are a test of timing, intelligence, and trust. Myra took a deep breath. Then we simulate it here first. If we can anticipate these challenges, we can navigate them in the real path. We must become a single unit, not two separate minds. They began practicing simulated scenarios. Leo would move one way, Myra the other, and together they would adjust to the imaginary obstacles. They learned to predict each other's actions without words, sometimes just a glance or a subtle shift of weight. Hours passed, and they grew more confident. The chains pulsed softly now, almost like encouragement. They began to realize that their unity was not just physical coordination, it was emotional and mental alignment. Calm confidence made the chains respond favorably, while hesitation or doubt caused sharp resistance. Myra whispered, Leo, I think we've reached a level where we can trust each other completely. If one of us hesitates, the other compensates. If we remain calm, we can control the chains almost like they are a part of us. Leo smiled faintly. Humans survive because we adapt. That's our strength. These aliens may have created these chains to control us, but they are teaching us to master ourselves. And together, we are learning faster than they expected. Suddenly, a soft glow appeared beneath the chains, forming patterns that mirrored their synchronized movements. The projection of the corridor also shifted, highlighting sections where coordination would be most critical. They are showing us the path, Myra said. But it is still a test. If we fail, we could be separated or worse. We must be perfect. Leo took her hand briefly, not as a gesture of fear or hesitation, but to align their movements. Then we act as one. Every thought, every step, every choice in perfect harmony. They began practicing the projected path in real time. Every shift of their bodies, every step forward, every adjustment to the chains had to be synchronized perfectly. When they succeeded, the chains pulsed gently, loosening their restraints and giving them slightly more freedom of movement. Hours turned into what felt like days. Leo and Myra pushed themselves harder, anticipating every movement, every shift, every reaction. They began to communicate silently, through tiny gestures, subtle tension changes, and shared understanding. Each success reinforced their confidence, and the chains became less of a prison and more of a partner. Myra whispered, Leo, we are ready. I can feel it. The chains are responding to us like we are a single being. If we face the obstacles now, we can succeed. We can reach the control device. Leo nodded. Then tomorrow we move. Together, nothing can stop us. The aliens may have designed this test to control us, but we have turned it into a lesson in human strength, intelligence, trust, and unity. The alien voice returned one last time that day, softer and almost approving, unity achieved. Prepare for advancement. The next stage will determine your path. Fail not, for the test intensifies. Leo and Myra exchanged a glance. They did not need words. They had learned the most important lesson: survival depended on absolute trust, synchronization, and unity. The chains, once symbols of confinement, had become instruments of understanding, teaching them how to think and act as one. As the twin sons of Zorith 5 set beyond the energy barrier of the prison, the room bathed in a soft, alien glow. Leo and Myra rested for the first time, knowing they were no longer simply prisoners chained beside each other. They were a single force, ready to face the next stage of the test. Myra's eyes sparkled with determination. Tomorrow, we take the first real step toward freedom. Together. Leo nodded. And we will not fail. Humans survive through adaptation, intelligence, and cooperation. The aliens may control the chains, but they cannot control our minds or our unity. That is our strength. For the first time since their capture, they felt confident. The path ahead would be dangerous and uncertain, but they had discovered something the aliens did not anticipate: the human ability to learn, adapt, and become greater than the sum of their parts. And in the quiet of the alien prison, the chains pulsed softly, acknowledging the unity of the two humans chained beside each other. They were no longer simply prisoners, they were a single entity, prepared to face any challenge that awaited them. The morning light filtered through the energy barrier of the alien prison, casting faint patterns on the walls. Leo and Myra had slept little, but they were ready. Today would be their first real test, the path to the central device that controlled the prison. The alien projection had made it clear this was the moment that would determine whether they advanced or failed. Myra stretched her limbs carefully, mindful of the chains. "Are you ready?" she asked. Leo nodded, adjusting his posture so that their chains moved in harmony. "We are ready. Remember, every step, every gesture, every thought must be in sync. Nothing less will work." The alien voice echoed in their minds again: "Proceed to the path. Cooperation will be measured at every step. Fail not, for isolation awaits those who falter." With careful precision, they began to move. The chains pulsed gently, responding to their synchronized steps. Each movement was deliberate, measured, and coordinated. The first section of the corridor appeared in the projection before them, a series of shifting floors that could trap or crush any misstep. Leo and Myra paused, studying the pattern. "We need to time our steps exactly," Leo said. "One wrong move, and the chains will tighten. We must anticipate the shifts together." Myra nodded. "Watch my cues. When I lift my foot, follow at the same time. When I adjust, you adjust immediately." They began to move forward, carefully stepping in unison. The floors shifted beneath them, testing their balance and timing. The chains responded instantly, pulsing sharply when they faltered and softening when they moved correctly. "Good," Myra whispered. "Keep the rhythm. Don't hesitate." Hours seemed to pass in the span of minutes as they navigated the shifting floors. Each obstacle demanded complete coordination. When an energy barrier appeared, they had to crouch and lean together, adjusting their positions perfectly. One moment of hesitation caused the chains to tighten, but they corrected themselves with quiet precision. Leo glanced at the projection. "There's another section ahead, narrow corridors with pressure plates. If we misstep, alarms will trigger, and the chains will restrict movement even more." Myra studied the path. "We move together, slowly. Every step weighted. Trust your instincts. Trust me. We can do this." They advanced carefully, testing each step. They learned to sense each other's movements, anticipating adjustments before they were needed. Every pulse from the chains became a guide rather than a warning. The prison was no longer simply restraining them, it was teaching them. At one point, the corridor widened, revealing a room filled with strange floating orbs. The orbs moved unpredictably, blocking their path and forcing them to coordinate leaps and sidesteps. One orb floated too close, and the chains pulsed sharply. Now! Myra shouted. They both jumped simultaneously, landing perfectly in unison on the other side. The chains softened immediately, almost as if approving their coordination. Leo laughed softly. We're learning faster than they expected. We're using our strengths and anticipating each other. Nothing they throw at us can stop this. Myra smiled. It's more than movement. It's trust. Confidence. Unity. We are becoming one entity, not two separate minds. The projection now showed the final stretch, a narrow bridge leading to the central control device. The bridge was thin, with gaps that required precise timing and perfect synchronization. Any misstep would cause the chains to tighten and potentially trap them. Leo took a deep breath. We've come this far. One step at a time, perfectly together. We can reach the device. We will. Myra nodded. And when we do, we control the prison. Not them. We take the key to our freedom, and maybe even freedom for the others. They began the crossing. Each step was calculated. The chains pulsed gently, guiding their balance. Myra led slightly, with Leo mirroring every motion. The gaps in the bridge required them to leap in unison, land precisely, and adjust instantly. Halfway across, an unexpected pulse from the chains jolted them. A section of the bridge shifted suddenly, threatening to throw them off balance. Hold steady! Leo shouted. They adjusted instinctively, moving as one. The chains responded by loosening, allowing them to regain control. They continued, every step a test of coordination, trust, and timing. Finally, they reached the end of the bridge. The central control device hovered before them, glowing softly with alien energy. Myra extended her hand. We did it. Together. Leo smiled. Yes. Together. And now we take control. The device responded to their synchronized touch. Lights flashed across the room, and the chains loosened completely. Other prisoners in nearby cells watched as their own chains pulsed differently, some loosening slightly as the system responded to the human unity. The alien voice returned, now softer and almost approving, unity demonstrated. Advancement granted. Your path is open. Proceed with wisdom. Myra glanced around. The path is open. We can free the others if we act quickly. Leo nodded. Let's move. We've learned their system, we've mastered our unity, and now we can turn it into freedom for all. They began moving through the prison, the chains no longer restraining them. Every prisoner they passed looked at them with a mix of fear and hope. Myra and Leo communicated silently, guiding each prisoner to synchronize movements to loosen their restraints. Slowly, a chain reaction began. Some prisoners, initially fearful, began to trust. Their chains loosened as they followed the coordinated movements of Leo and Myra. The aliens had created the prison to measure cooperation, but the humans had mastered it, turning the test into a lesson in teamwork and resilience. Finally, they reached the central corridor, leading to the exit of the alien prison. The energy barriers lifted in response to the central device's activation. Leo and Myra led the way, guiding each prisoner with care and precision. Outside the prison, the alien observers remained silent. Their experiments had been subverted, but Leo and Myra had learned something they could not anticipate: the human ability to adapt, learn, and cooperate in ways beyond any system of control. Myra looked at Leo. We did it. We didn't just survive, we outsmarted them. And we helped others along the way. Leo nodded. Humans are stronger than they realized. Our unity, intelligence, and trust are our greatest strengths. That's what allowed us to turn their test into our triumph. The prisoners stepped into the open air of Zorath 5, free from the chains. Leo and Myra looked back at the alien prison, Understanding that their survival had been about more than strength, it had been about human ingenuity, cooperation, and unyielding spirit. Myra smiled. We proved something important. Humans can survive even the most alien challenges when we trust each other and think together. Leo nodded. And this is only the beginning. We've learned how to turn obstacles into opportunities. That is what makes us human. As the twin suns of Zorath 5 set over the horizon, Leo, Myra, and the other freed prisoners walked together, stronger and wiser. The alien prison still stood, but its power over humans had ended. Leo and Myra had shown that intelligence, unity, and courage could overcome even the most advanced systems of control. And in that moment, they knew the key to freedom was not just reaching the device, it was the trust, synchronization, and human spirit that had carried them through every trial. Leo and Myra led the freed prisoners through the alien corridors, their chains finally gone, leaving only the soft hum of alien energy in the walls. The experience had changed them both. They moved with confidence, their minds and bodies synchronized, guiding others who were still uncertain or frightened. Myra glanced back at the prisoners. Stay close. Follow our steps. Trust each other. That is how we will get out safely. Leo nodded. We've learned their system. We know how it responds. If we stay calm and work together, nothing can stop us. The corridors ahead were unfamiliar, a maze of alien architecture and glowing energy panels. Some pathways were blocked by shifting walls, while others had strange devices emitting pulses of light. Leo and Myra paused to observe. These are not just physical obstacles, Leo said. They are testing our perception and timing. We need to plan each step carefully. Myra studied the devices. We know how to read them now. Watch the patterns. Move when the pulses are weakest. Coordinate every action. We lead, they follow. The prisoners hesitated at first, unsure of the movements required. Leo stepped forward, demonstrating the timing, and Myra mirrored him. Slowly, the others began to move in unison, learning to match their steps, lean together, and anticipate changes. One prisoner, a tall humanoid named Rilo, almost misstepped on a shifting platform. The alien devices activated, but Leo reached out, adjusting Rilo's balance. Move with us, trust your instincts, trust us, Leo said calmly. Rilo nodded and followed, his movements now synchronized. The platform stabilized, and the group advanced further. As they moved deeper into the prison, the corridors opened into a vast chamber filled with hovering energy barriers. The barriers moved unpredictably, forcing the group to split into pairs, each navigating a separate path. Myra whispered to Leo, "We need to cover everyone. Lead them safely, one section at a time. Trust and communication are key." Leo nodded. "We can do this. We've trained for coordination. Everyone moves together, even if not physically side by side." They began the maneuver. Leo and Myra guided their respective groups, calling out timing cues and signaling adjustments. Each prisoner responded, synchronizing their movements with care. The energy barriers tested their focus, but the humans' cooperation allowed them to pass without triggering the alien defenses. Halfway through the chamber, a new challenge appeared, a series of pressure-sensitive plates embedded in the floor. Only precise steps would allow safe passage. One wrong move could trigger alarms and possibly trap the prisoners again. Myra studied the plates. "We need to calculate our steps. Timing, weight, and movement must be perfect." Leo counted softly, guiding the group. 1, 2, move. Step lightly, follow exactly. Now shift together. The prisoners moved carefully, their feet placing pressure in perfect rhythm. The barriers responded, allowing passage. Even the aliens' mental monitoring, once so strict, seemed ineffective against the humans' teamwork. When they reached the final section of the chamber, the central control room loomed ahead. Its walls glowed with alien energy, and strange machinery floated midair, humming softly. "This is it," Leo said. "The exit should be through that room. But we stay alert. There could be more traps." Myra nodded. We approach slowly, together. Everyone synchronized. Every movement matters. The group advanced. As they entered the room, a sudden pulse of energy swept across the floor. The floating machinery activated, sending beams of light that crisscrossed the chamber. The prisoners froze, unsure of the timing. "Follow my lead," Myra said firmly. She moved through the beams with careful steps, Leo mirroring her motion. Slowly, one by one, the others followed, adjusting their pace to remain in perfect coordination. The beams reacted to their unity, pulsing softly rather than striking them. It was clear that the alien system was adaptive, learning from the human synchronization, just as the chains had before. Finally, they reached the far side of the room. A large doorway shimmered with energy, signaling the exit from the alien prison. Leo and Myra paused to gather the group. "Almost there," Leo said. "One final step. Trust each other. Move together." With a final coordinated movement, they stepped through the doorway. The energy barrier lifted, and the group emerged into the open air of Zorath 5. The twin suns shone brightly, casting light over the rocky landscape. Freedom had never felt so real. The prisoners looked around, awestruck. For some, it was their first glimpse of the sky in months, perhaps years. Leo and Myra smiled at each other, proud but cautious. They knew this was only the beginning of their journey. Myra spoke to the group. "We did it. Together, we overcame the prison, the chains, and the tests. Now we move forward, watch each other's backs, and stay united. That is how humans survive." Rilo stepped forward. "You've shown us how to trust, to work together. I didn't think escape was possible, but you proved it." "Thank you." Leo nodded. "We all survived because we cooperated. The aliens may have designed this prison to control us, but they underestimated our ability to learn and adapt. That is human strength." As the group moved toward a safe location beyond the prison, Myra glanced back at the massive structure. Its walls pulsed softly, as if acknowledging the humans' triumph. "They thought we were prisoners," Myra said quietly. "But we turned their system into a lesson for ourselves. We showed them the power of unity, intelligence, and courage." Leo smiled. "And we can take that lesson anywhere. No matter the challenge, humans survive by thinking, learning, and working together. That is our gift." The group settled in a sheltered valley, catching their breath and recovering from the long ordeal. Leo and Myra shared a moment of quiet reflection. "We've come far," Leo said. "But there will be more challenges. The universe doesn't make it easy. The aliens were just the first test." Myra nodded. "Yes, but we've proven something important. Humans are not easily controlled. We can adapt, learn, and overcome. That is our strength, and it will guide us through anything." As the sun set over Zorath 5, the freed prisoners gathered around a small fire, sharing stories, laughter, and relief. Leo and Myra knew that the bond formed through their trials would last a lifetime. Their unity had saved them, and it had inspired others. Somewhere in the distant horizon, the alien prison still stood, empty of human captives. It had been a place designed for control, but it had also become a testament to human ingenuity. Leo and Myra had shown that even the most advanced systems could not suppress the resilience, intelligence, and cooperation of humans. And in that moment, Leo realized something profound. Survival was not just about strength or skill. It was about unity, trust, and the human spirit, qualities that no alien, no matter how advanced, could ever fully contain. Myra glanced at him and smiled. "We did it, Leo. Together, we escaped, And we proved what humans are capable of. Leo nodded. Yes, Myra. And now, we move forward. Stronger, wiser, and united. There is nothing we cannot face. As the stars began to appear in the sky of Zorath 5, the humans stood together, free, and ready for whatever challenges the universe would send next. The alien prison was behind them, but the lessons they had learned would guide them forever. The sun rose slowly over Zorath 5, bathing the rocky plains in warm light. Leo and Myra stood at the edge of a cliff, looking out over the landscape that stretched far beyond the alien prison they had just escaped. The prisoners they had freed moved below, gathering supplies and setting up temporary shelters. The sense of freedom was overwhelming, yet Leo and Myra knew this was only the beginning of their journey. Myra turned to Leo. We made it. We escaped, and everyone is safe. But it wasn't just luck. It was our unity, our trust, and our intelligence that got us through. Leo nodded. The aliens created the prison to test control. They thought fear and isolation would dominate us. Instead, we turned it into a lesson. We adapted. We learned. And we overcame. Below them, the freed prisoners moved confidently, some laughing, some sharing stories. Rilo approached them, a wide smile on his face. Leo, Myra, I never imagined this was possible. You taught us how to work together, how to trust. We are alive because of you. Myra shook her head. It wasn't just us. It was all of you. Every step you took, every action in sync with others, made this escape possible. We all survived because we acted as one. Leo added, humans are strongest when we cooperate. We think, we plan, and we adapt. That is what no system can ever fully control. That is what makes us human. As they prepared to move further from the prison, a soft vibration pulsed from the device they had activated. The alien systems were still online, observing perhaps, but the humans had turned the tables. Where the aliens had hoped to instill fear, humans had shown mastery, intelligence, and unity. Myra looked at Leo thoughtfully. Do you think they will try again? Send another test. Leo considered this. Maybe. But even if they do, they will find the same result. Humans are not easily broken. We learn, adapt, and overcome. That is our greatest strength. No prison, no obstacle, no alien system can change that. The group decided to move to a safer location, a plateau further from the prison. Along the way, they encountered alien monitoring devices, but they navigated them easily, applying the lessons learned in the prison. Every member of the group moved with confidence, showing that the skills developed under pressure had become natural. Rilo, walking beside Myra, whispered, I never knew humans could be so united. Watching you and Leo, it feels like you were a single mind. Myra smiled. That is exactly what we had to be. We learned to synchronize not just our movements, but our thoughts and intentions. That trust is what made escape possible. As the group settled on the plateau, Leo surveyed the horizon. The alien prison, once a symbol of fear and control, now appeared small and powerless. Its towering walls and glowing energy barriers could not contain human determination and ingenuity. Look at it, Leo said. It may be strong, but it underestimated what humans are capable of. Intelligence, adaptation, trust, and unity, these cannot be measured by machines or chains. That is why we survived. Myra nodded. And we didn't just survive. We thrived under pressure, guided others, and turned a test of control into a demonstration of human spirit. As the twin suns of Zorath 5 dipped toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the plateau, the humans shared a quiet moment. They had been tested, challenged, and confined, yet they had emerged stronger than ever. Leo turned to Myra. We should reflect on what we've learned. Not just the escape, but the strength of human unity. It is a lesson we will carry forward, no matter where we go in the universe. Myra agreed. Yes. The chains were never just restraints. They were teachers. They showed us how to work together, to anticipate, to trust completely. That is the real victory. The freed prisoners gathered around a fire, sharing stories and laughter. Some spoke of their fear and uncertainty during captivity, others of small moments of courage and trust. Leo and Myra listened, realizing that the prison had brought them closer as a community. One prisoner, a small humanoid named Kira, approached Myra. I never believed we could escape. But you showed us how to trust, how to act together. I will never forget this lesson. Myra smiled warmly. You don't need to forget it. Every step forward, every choice you make in cooperation with others, strengthens you. That is how humans thrive. Leo added, and it is not just about survival. It is about growth. Every challenge we face teaches us something. The stronger we become, the more capable we are of facing what comes next. The group spent the evening under the stars of Zorth 5, reflecting on their journey. The alien prison had been a place of fear, yet it became a proving ground for the strength of the human mind and spirit. Leo and Myra understood that true freedom was not just escaping the walls, it was the unity, courage, and intelligence that had carried them through. As the night deepened, Myra looked at Leo. We faced an alien system designed to control us, and yet we prevailed. That is a lesson about humanity itself. We survive, we adapt, and we overcome. That is what makes us strong. Leo nodded. And we will carry that lesson wherever we go. The universe is vast and full of challenges, but we have proven that nothing can break human will when we work together. In the distance, the alien prison glowed faintly under the twin moons, silent but still observing. Yet Leo and Myra knew the truth: no system, no matter how advanced, could ever suppress human ingenuity and unity. The group rested together that night, bonded not only by the shared experience of survival but also by the knowledge that humans were capable of extraordinary feats when united in purpose. Leo and Myra lay side by side, reflecting on everything they had endured and achieved. Myra whispered softly, "We turned a prison into a lesson. We showed them what humans can do. And more importantly, we showed ourselves what we are capable of." Leo smiled. "Yes, Myra. We learned that intelligence, trust, and unity are stronger than any chains. And that is the essence of humanity." As the stars shone over Zorth 5, the humans looked to the future with hope and determination. The alien prison was behind them, but the lessons it taught would guide them forever. They had faced fear, control, and uncertainty, yet they had triumphed through cooperation, courage, and the unbreakable human spirit. And in that moment, Leo realized something profound: humans survive not because we are strongest, but because we trust, learn, and act together. That is what makes us extraordinary. That is what allows us to overcome even the most impossible challenges. Myra nodded, her eyes reflecting the glow of the stars. We survived. We thrived. And together, we will face whatever comes next. The freed prisoners slept under the vast sky, united and stronger than ever. The alien prison stood in the distance, powerless against the force it had underestimated. Humanity had proven its strength, not through weapons or technology, but through intelligence, unity, and courage, the qualities that no alien system could ever break. And so, Leo, Myra, and the others stepped into the future, free, confident, and forever changed. They had faced the unimaginable and emerged victorious. Humanity had triumphed once again, proving that survival and greatness were not given, they were earned through trust, unity, and the extraordinary resilience of the human spirit.